How many bosses can you kill with the Lifehunt Scythe? Well, that's easy to answer. Just take all the bosses, subtract the 5 you need to kill to get the scythe, and there you go. That's a boring answer though, so how about we set a few rules and figure it out for ourselves. Number 1. Damage can be dealt only with either the Lifehunt Scythe or the Great Scythe before we get the Lifehunt. 2. Nothing can be equipped on the hands except for the scythes. This means no Pyromancy Flame, no Catalysts, or even the Grass Crest Shield. Number 3. The only bosses that can be killed with the Great Scythe are those absolutely necessary to get the Lifehunt Scythe. That is Gargoyles, Capra, Quelaag, Iron Golem, and Priscilla. That's it. Number 4. The run starts as soon as we touch down in Lordran. And finally, no glitches or exploits are allowed. With the rules out of the way, we select our starting class as the Thief and Black Firebombs as our gift. Even though the challenge hasn't technically started yet, at the time I wasn't sure if I'd start it here and allow firebombs or not, but eventually I decided that firebombs wouldn't be allowed through the run, so the challenge has to start in Lordran. With that being said, we kill the Asylum Demon with firebombs, and yes, I suck at using them, so I wasted several. We also get our CP juice from Oscar, and make a mad dash to the end so we can get carried into Lordran. From here on out the challenge starts, which means we can't deal any damage unless it's done with the Great Scythe. Now we have our first objective for this run. Before we do that though, we need to collect all the items around the shrine and level up a bit. We aren't making it out of the catacombs alive, so it's important to go in with as few souls as we can. After running through, opening gates and turning bridges, we finally get to drop down and claim our prize. I did die a couple of times trying to get it though. Back in Firelink, we test the moveset, which is pretty slow, except for a running attack. That one is actually great. Good distance covered, and it's a horizontal swipe. After collecting a few more things like the Firekeeper's Soul, we immediately run to Valley of Drakes to get into Darkwood early. If we want to deal some serious damage, we need some upgrades. Once at Andres, we buy a ton of Titanite and upgrade our scythe as far as it'll go. We also pick up the Titanite shard from the Tower Knight and the Firekeeper's Soul, which gets us our scythe to +5 and Estus to +2. With all those upgrades, it's time to face off against the Gargoyles, and I really don't think you are meant to fight them with a +5 weapon. Let's say they just got destroyed, and we get to ring the first bell. We use the Gargoyle souls to level up some vitality and make sure to say hello to Lothric. You've messed with me enough in past runs. I won't make the mistake of letting you live again. With that, we get the Fab ring, and we are just missing the Havel's ring to complete our usual ring setup. While tedious, getting rid of Havel ain't difficult, so we claim our victory and our prize. Now it's on to the depth to get the large ember. We get the basement key to open the path, and we get the shortcut to Undead Burg bonfire. Now onto the lower Undead Burg and also open that shortcut. We abuse the reach of the scythe and head into the Capra fight. He decided to play nice this time around. The dogs go down with one hit each, and the Capra himself is pretty easy to avoid. We also have pretty good reach, which helps a lot in this fight. With that, we claim the key to the depths. On our way to opening the shortcut back to Firelink, we talk to the merchant lady and buy from her one shiny stone and some feces, both of which we will need later on for some upgrades. We also buy a couple of homeward bones just to have them there since we have the souls right now. After opening the depths, we barely wet our toes by grabbing the large ember and hightail it out of there. We pick up the Firekeeper soul in Blighttown on our way down, now that Lautrec is dead, and pick up the large Titanites in the area. Now it's time to give Quelaag a try. Remember that our scythe is still at +5, so this should be around the level expected for this boss, I think. Quelaag is an interesting case. Our damage isn't horrible, but it ain't amazing either. Her long reach does help quite a bit, and the vertical swipes of the scythe make it so that we can stagger her sometimes. However, I found it hard to aim for her human torso, so for the most part, I didn't. Just focus on dealing consistent damage. Eventually the witch goes down, without causing as much trouble as I thought she would. I actually kill her first try. With that, we ring the second bell, and we continue on. Now it's back to the asylum, as we will be needing the doll for later, and no better time than the present. We literally just stop for some trades with Snuggly and pick up the doll. Back at Andres, we give him the large ember and ascend our scythe. We got just enough for 4+7, so we leave it there. We're gonna get more large Titanite incense, so it's fine. We test our new toy with the Titanite Demon and get one more Demon Titanite for a future upgrade. We head into Sense and kill another 2 Titanite Demons for their upgrade materials. Oh look, a penny! Now we progress through the level, picking up the large Titanites and lighting the bonfire. We continue to upgrade, and after not getting a drop we wanted, we are forced to purchase the last ones we need. We also get the shortcut key since we're already here. We kill the giant on top because I literally always do, and finally upgrade to +10. With that, we are ready for Anor Londo. Unfortunately, the Iron Golem still stands in our way, and he is pretty damn resistant to slash type damage, so here we go. Well, that's not great damage, and the attacks are fairly slow as well. I'm not even gonna comment on the hitboxes. Well, we did manage to get him to take the plunge at the end. We might as well have not, with how little health he had left. Anyways, on to Anor Londo. We have several things to do now. First of which is to pick up the Demon Titanite in the first run. With that done, we also need to spend the souls leveling up a bit more vitality, endurance and dexterity. Another Demon Titanite from the bottom of the lift, and it's onto the rafters. We don't concern ourselves with these idiots and just run past them. Interestingly enough, that's the same strategy we employ for the Painted World. Simply run past everything until we can unlock the shortcut, unlock the door to Priscilla, and run past everything to get to her. I don't expect this to be a hard fight for us, and it isn't. After a few swings we managed to break her invisibility, and from there on it's just a matter of hitting her from the back. The emotional damage for this one is far worse than the physical damage we might have incurred. With her soul in hand, it's time for us to just leave this accursed place. I made it past the archers, first try, of course. And light the bonfire inside where Solaire should be. But we spared him of his terrible fate this time around. After a mad dash to the blacksmith, we converted our +10 scythe into the long-awaited Lifehunt Scythe. From now on, we need to be careful. If you don't know, the Lifehunt Scythe deals bloodlust to both wearer and enemy, and once triggered it takes out 50% of your health bar. Well, at least for us it does. We also make sure to pick up the Havel's armor for later. We are still missing a bit of Demon Titanite, so we killed a demon here for 2 extra pieces. Here we see the problem with this weapon, and how we need to be careful when using it to avoid killing ourselves, cause yes, the bloodlust can definitely kill us. Hot damn! Sorry, moving on. We pick up another 2 Demon Titanites from this chest right here, and that gives us just enough for our last upgrade to get the scythe to +5. With a maxed out weapon, it's now time to start the boss rush. First on our hit list is ONS. The damage is pretty good, but our own carelessness kills us the first time. As you can see, I didn't kindle the bonfire, so I'll be doing this with only 5 sips. This is the reason I like using both the FAP and the Fat Ring, so I can put on some decent armor and reduce the damage. Thankfully, Smo is susceptible to bleed, so that does help for the second phase of the fight. Not a first try victory unfortunately, but just 1 death for them, still pretty good in my books. Don't look straight at her, there will be time for that later when we come back. Mark my words. It's been a while since we've been here, but now it's time to get rid of the Taurus demon. No surprises here, but the fight lasts no time at all. We have a maxed out weapon, and this is the literal first boss you're meant to fight. Now for the Hydra. Each head goes down with 1 hit, so it's not terribly difficult to take it out. Pretty sure I got a bleed close to the end, but still it went down fast. Same as the Golem, which I thought would be more resistant to slash damage, but oh well, I'm not complaining. We take the time to say hi to Lemon, who chose an interesting place to take a nap, and head on to fight the butterfly. No surprises here, just wait for it to land and destroy it when it does. The damage is so tremendous it goes down in 1 cycle, and I was more at risk with my own bloodlust than the butterfly itself. By now, I realized I didn't place the Lord Vessel yet, so we do that to avoid a headache later. With that, we decide to head back to old Chunky here, who bleeds every 2 to 3 hits, but we do need to be careful of our own bleed. Still, it poses basically no threat at all. Andre gets to live this time around, since we have the souls to spare. We open the door, and now it's time for the Danger Doggo. Another boss that can bleed, so this should be easy. And it is! We don't actually get any bleed proc since Sif loves jumping around, and our attacks aren't exactly the fastest, But what does bleed is our heart after seeing him limp like that. Down at the catacombs, we skip everything by jumping down and head straight to Pinwheel, who doesn't stand a sliver of a chance. Unfortunately, we got the most useless of the three masks, but oh well. Down to the Tomb of the Giants it is for us. We just light the bonfire and hightail it out of there, as there are still some other things I want to do first, like getting the pendant for the DLC from the archives. We also decide to take on Scythe at this point, so we take our mandatory death of the run. Turn off the music, pick up the key, open the shortcut, take the Firekeeper's soul. Just like that, it's time for Scythe. By allowing him to break his own crystal, we make sure we have plenty of time to practice getting the tail cut. From there on, the fight is really easy. Once you know how he works, this is one of the easiest fights in the game. As long as you didn't get several clamps to follow you in, that is. Still, Scythe can kill those clamps for us, so we literally don't have to care about them. Told you I'd be back, didn't I? Can you hold this for me? I meant with your hands, but whatever. Time for Mr. Delicate. He goes down easy, no comments needed. I'm sorry, but I'll be needing your soul. You served me well so far, but you've outlived your usefulness.
This man must have good.
Into the DLC. We test how the battles are gonna go from here, and well, nothing to complain here. Damage is fantastic, and it just takes a few swings for the Guardian to go down. I'm glad I decided to disallow any buffs, cause imagine what it would be like with Power Within. We might sprint towards Artorias, and let's see how this one goes. Our attack speed definitely hurts us more on this one, and I die on the first attempt from being careless and not getting him out of his buffing animation in time. On our second try, we do better, and avoid making any stupid mistakes that may cost our life in the early fight. Unfortunately, we do have to be careful when he buffs, since we need several hits to get him out of his animation. Enough to bleed ourselves, so if we are under 50% health, it's just not possible to do it in time. Still, we played it pretty nicely and managed to snatch the win from him eventually. We take a detour to painstakingly give all the humanity we've got to the most beautiful of them all. And I know I'm going all over the place with the order in this one. It frustrates editing me as well. I hate that I did all this in such a disorderly manner, but oh well. Anyway, we gift her with 30 humanity and get the right to open the shortcut from this side. We take a quick trip to Ceaseless Arena to bait him over to jumping, and he starts spamming range attacks from the get-go, so I just decide to kill him normally and get it over with. It's not like our damage is low. Calculated, by the way. Totally didn't survive by pure luck there. After killing the wall worm, it's time for Isolith. First is Mexican Chunky, who is also susceptible to bleed, so I'm struggling to find anything to say about this fight. Needless to say, he goes down fast. Next is Centipede, whose arena poses more threat than the demon himself. After jumping over the lava, we just wait until it approaches and then start slashing at his ankles until he dies. With how much it jumps around, not even the Bloodlust is a threat this time. Anyways, it goes down. The Bed of Chaos is last, but first we open the shortcut and make sure to pick up the light, and not let the witch light us. The Bed of Chaos is boring as usual. Just pop the first side. Jump on the other side. Pop the other ball. Run to the center and jump, of course, and from there just sprint to the bug. Back at the Tomb of the Giants, I ran past everything until I made it to Nito. Literally nothing to see. We drop into the arena and wait for him to approach so we can avoid the big Tonys in the back. I can already tell from just the first attempt that the bloodlust is gonna be a problem in this fight, the skeleton's taking a hit to go down. Nito can't bleed, as far as I know, so this fight is all about patience and taking it slow. Let the meter tick down before the next hit, let Nito himself deal with the basic Tonys, and keep your health up. Eventually he goes down as well on the second try. Back in the DLC, we make sure to pick up the pendant now that we have a source of light, the Kreski from the Sleeping Mimic, and save the doggo because we have a heart, I suppose. This time around, we will be taking Manus first. Despite his high damage and insane reach with some moves, he is fairly easy to read. So by just keeping our distance and making sure to heal when needed, we eventually managed to get the kill on our first try. I still suck at reading which magic attack is which, so I just used the pendant for all of them. With one final hit, we dispatch Manus and we can turn our attention to a different prey. The prey in question though won't let us reach it, so we need to enlist the help of Blind Hunter to snipe it down with pure manliness. After making sure the lizard is grounded, we sprint towards its arena and get ready for arguably the worst fight in the game in terms of difficulty. Still, despite hitting hard, Calamite isn't that hard to read, so once you get the hang of it, the fight is pretty straightforward. I'm not gonna lie, I tend to have much more trouble parrying Gwyn than I do killing Calamine, but that's likely because I suck at parrying. Anyway, the lizard goes down. We commit the highest treason imaginable and then head down to New Londo. There isn't much to say here, not even the ghost house poses that much of a threat at our current level, and having horizontal slashes in a running attack does help a lot with the coverage. After getting the key to the seal, we proceed to immediately open it so we can pay the Four Kings a little visit. Of course, we just skip past everything, put on our Havel's armor, and head straight into the fight. Damage is pretty good, but don't even think of bleeding the kings. Their resistances are through the roof, and many sources say it's impossible to bleed them. Still, we need to keep the pressure on to make sure we don't allow more than one to be on us at any given point. Yep, remember what I said about being able to bleed ourselves to death? Nothing else to say about that. Second try does go better, and we get through it with no real trouble. Just stand there and tank it all. Eventually, they die on the second try. That leaves us with just one boss left to clean up the game. Gwyn. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I suck at parrying Gwyn. This time around though, it took me only 3 deaths to get back into the... He does have some pretty speedy attacks that I had to really look out for, but for the last attempt, I'd say it went about as smoothly as I could have hoped. After leaving the kiln to let the fire die out, we count our victories, and it seems like you can kill a total of 15 bosses using the Lifehunt Scythe. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any feedback, do leave it in the comments down below. Thank you for watching. I'll be seeing you then. Oh, also, we finished the entire run in roughly 5.5 hours, at level 81.